Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your reading. This is Bright Soul Collective Tarot. My name is Laura, and these will be your intuitive insights and advice for the month of May 2022. So, Taurus, I must start off by saying happy Taurus season and wishing you a very happy birthday. Whether it's already passed or is yet to come, I hope that you're able to spend some time, enjoy some celebrations with friends and family, or whatever that might look like to you, and to make the most of your energy being highlighted for the majority of this month until we move into Gemini season. So I hope you're all well. I hope everything is going great, and I'm excited to take a look and see what May might have in store for you. So this reading will be for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And before we get into the cards, just a reminder, this reading will be general in nature. So not all of the information that comes through will necessarily apply to you. Definitely take anything and everything that does resonate, however that makes sense for your specific situation. Keep an open mind to anything that might be helpful as you move through the month, and simply leave the rest. Okay, Taurus, one last disclaimer before we get into your reading. My goal for this month, I've changed the format just a little bit. My goal is to try and make the readings just a bit shorter than usual. April has been an incredibly busy, hectic month. I've been kind of constantly on the go. It's been a little stressful, a little bit of a struggle. Not gonna lie, my energy was off for the majority of the month. I'm feeling much better now, but I was actually considering not doing readings for May. And then I changed my mind and figured, this is something I really enjoy doing. I usually look forward to it, so I figured I would, and that maybe just adjusting, trying to make the readings a little bit more brief might be a way to kind of help me make preparing for and recording 12 videos a little bit more manageable. So that's the goal. So I have one oracle card for you. We will pull some tarot. I'll get you a couple of affirmations, and I'll get you a second oracle card to end things, which instead of openly interpreting, I'll just read directly from the book, and we'll see how that kind of shines a little bit more light on the situation and ties everything together. And I will start as usual with your channeled messages, which I have limited to 5 for the sake of brevity this month. So we'll consider those like your top 5 kind of energies coming through. And technically what I do the entire reading is channel information and messages as I'm reading the cards. So this is just something that I like to do before I get your cards coming out, to channel, like connect with your energy, channel messages, and see what comes through without any kind of visual prompt, just for fun. So we will start with that. So Taurus, as I was preparing for your reading, I prepared for it the other day. Actually, I got your channel messages and your oracle card, but it was interesting because as I was preparing the cards, I was connecting with this kind of like hyper excited energy. Like it felt very high energy, very excitable, perhaps a little bit impulsive. Kind of like fast moving and enthusiastic. So you might very well be feeling that way, not only because, the weather is starting to improve and spring is finally here, but because we're in your season, there might be, kind of like lots of energy in your favor this month. And the interesting thing is I also felt like a lot of energy in my hands. Like I just wanted to like do things with my hands. So you might be a really like hands-on type of person. You might have a lot of like creative outlets. You're working with your hands might be something important, but it's like there was like the power of creation like in my hands. And so that could obviously be physical and in a tangible way, but it could also be more metaphorical in terms of, manifesting, creating your life, bringing your vision into reality. So I thought that was really cool energy for you to have this month, especially being in your season. And the thing that came along with that, because it was such a high flying kind of hyperactive energy, it's like, yeah, you might be a little bit too quick moving, or you might be feeling a little bit impulsive, like excited to get going. So you might have to kind of slow your roll at times and like take that energy and that enthusiasm and make sure that you're focusing it into exactly what it is that you want, and just kind of making sure that it doesn't spawn chaos and that you can use it to your advantage if you do have that energy available to you. And the other thing is like sitting down today I was actually feeling really, really excited to sit down and do your reading. And it just kind of felt like, the sun was shining. It's a really bright, happy day. And it's just like the sun is shining on you. That's how I felt. It's like everything is good. And I guess astrologically speaking, the sun is shining on you. Like it's your time. So that is super fun. So for your channeled messages, the first thing that came through was organic. And so that usually signifies two things to me when something like that comes through. So it could be like literally in terms of organic products, fruits and vegetables. You might be in a position where you're trying to kind of keep an eye out for your health, maybe choose more organic, natural sources. It could be organic produce and vegetables. It could even just be more like supplements, natural products like soap, personal care products, things like that. Just trying to kind of like limit the amount of toxins in your day-to-day routine, I guess. So that could be a focus for you. The other thing that comes along with organic is what I think of is natural in terms of the way that you present yourself, the way that you interact with others, the way that you make your decisions, kind of like letting things flow organically, being true to yourself. Not bending to external pressures or doing things that you otherwise wouldn't want to do just because of, things that people expect from you or what other people say and do. So it could just be like really kind of trying to get back to basics, to be healthy, authentic, to do what feels right to you, and to kind of like, cleanse your day-to-day life, maybe not only physically, but energetically as well in terms of how you're showing up and who you're allowing space. The next thing that came through, your second message, was festivities abound, which doesn't necessarily surprise me being in your season. Obviously, there's probably the opportunity for you to celebrate your birthday. And it might not just be that. It could be that there are a number of people wanting to celebrate with you, maybe like a number of different gatherings. It could be a number of people with birthdays getting together to celebrate. There could be other celebrations and festivities this month, but I kind of get the sense that like there may be a lot of opportunities for socialization, to connect with others, to celebrate and enjoy. And I would say that if you do find yourself in a position where you're receiving a lot of invitations or you've got a lot of events and opportunities, I think that is highlighted for you this month. It's definitely something that you should lean into. Just allow yourself to enjoy, to connect with others, to let loose. I think that's going to be really beneficial for you. The next thing that came through, so your third channeled message, was graciously navigating social situations. So I think that's a really neat kind of follow up to this idea that festivities abound, because obviously socialization and celebrations, they can be fun. They can also be really draining. It can take a lot out of you to be surrounded by other people and their energy, interactions. And we don't always, when we're in those social situations, especially if it's like celebrating someone else or something else that's not particularly close to us, sometimes we do come across people that, maybe aren't in our tight circle, maybe aren't people that we would really choose to spend time with. They could be people that we just would rather avoid. Social settings can also be kind of like emotionally charged, especially if you've got people that have like a history or, things can kind of like elevate. So it's not always an easy situation, even if you're gathering for like a good cause or a fun cause. So it's basically like recognizing your ability to kind of read the room, to assess what's going on around you. If there's anyone whose energy is kind of off, if there's anyone that makes you feel a little bit weird or that you feel like you should keep your distance from, it's just finding a gracious way to navigate that energy and recognizing that that is part of life. Like, we're going to have those awkward moments. There are going to be, things from the past that are unearthed or brought up, and it might not be comfortable for everyone, but, there's a fair and equal way to move through that. And it's like being true to yourself, moving through it organically, and just, doing your best to handle any kind of It could be confrontation. It could just be discomfort for yourself or for others. And it's like just acknowledging that you have the power to navigate that in a way that's going to feel good to you, even if it's not an ideal situation. So make the best of it and allow yourself to enjoy. Don't let anything that might be a little bit weird, or anyone in particular that might make you feel a little bit weird, rob you of your joy, especially in those types of situations. The next thing that came through was endeavors of the heart, which immediately made me think of like romantic relationships. So if you're not currently in a relationship, it might be opening to opportunities to connect with people, or maybe getting a little bit of detail and clarity in terms of what you might be looking for in a partner, what you might want a relationship to look like. Just giving that a little bit more time and attention. If you are in a relationship, it could just be a matter of taking more time to connect with that person, spending more quality time, having more conversation. So like instead of just sitting in front of the TV, like melting your brain, like taking time to sit and speak with each other, to reconnect, maybe going on dates. So yeah, just kind of prioritizing love, maybe romance, maybe passion, and just kind of reconnecting to that relationship, allowing yourself to enjoy and build upon that, especially if it's been something that's kind of been on the back burner for you. And if it's not romantic in nature, this can just be in terms of it could be your relationship to yourself. And kind of just being aware of your feelings and your needs. It could be in relationship to other people, like friends and family. And yeah, I would just say like really taking the time to connect with people in a deeper and more meaningful way, to prioritize those connections, especially if you are somebody who tends to be a little bit more independent. It's good to take time to reconnect with those people that have something to offer, especially if they are near and dear to your heart. It can really make a huge difference in your energy, just taking time to enjoy that person or those people and their presence and what they bring to your life. The last thing that came through for your channeled message was really bizarre. It was Mexican jumping bean. So I don't know what that might mean to you. I don't know if that's something that you say. Maybe you already have a frame of reference for that. It might have just like some connection to Mexico or something Mexican. I don't know. Super bizarre. So only you will know if that makes sense to you. I thought out of doing a top 5 for channeled messages, that was like really weird for that to make it into the top 5, but perhaps there is some major significance for you. So we'll get into your oracle card. So this month, your card is to be fair. So it's a number 38. 8 and 3 makes 11, and 11 is a master number. It's like a spiritual number. So a lot of times, the themes and the energy associated with 11, and which would be like this card and other cards in the deck that also add to 11, they have like a deeper, more spiritual meaning, more significance. So it usually indicates to me that there might be like a test that you're experiencing relating to this, like, and being able to practice and integrate it, or that you're being tested if this is something that you're focused on. So in all, to be fair, this card is really talking a lot about fairness, equity, balance, the exchange in life. So this is not only in terms of our life experience and how our lives unfold and what we go through on a day-to-day basis, but also like in terms of our interactions with and relationships to other people. And it's kind of like a card of karma as well, right? So it's like there's always going to be give and take. There's always going to be like a back and forth, and what you reap is what you sow is what you reap, and vice versa, right? So it's kind of like what you're putting out there is what you're getting back. And sometimes what we get isn't always what we want or expect or what we think that we need, but there's still something to be gained from it, right? And so it's like, I don't want to talk about this in terms of toxic positivity where it's like, oh, everything is wonderful and you should just think that everything's great all the time. This is more about recognizing that there's always going to be like ebb and flow in life, and we're always going to go from like being to doing. So a lot of times our society puts pressure on us to always be doing, to always be moving, to be productive, to be achieving and accomplishing things. And that's really, it's not feasible, it's not sustainable, it's not healthy, but it's also not realistic. Like that's not how things work, right? Even if you look at general life cycles, like life cycles of plants and animals, and in a more basic sense, it's like that's not how life was kind of intended to operate. And being humans, we have the ability to understand, and we can kind of push through our natural cycles. Like think about even our natural sleep cycles, with having electric lighting, and then having, social media and electronic devices. We're able to just distract ourselves and we take ourselves out of that like natural circadian rhythm because we're inundating ourselves with unnatural stimulation. And so it's kind of understanding that we can be conditioned to do things in a way that isn't necessarily beneficial to us. And so we lose sight of the fact that we naturally go through cycles, of rest and movement, right? And so, sometimes we'll experience challenge or tragedy or loss, and it will be difficult, and we have to kind of trudge through it and figure out what to do with that energy. But also we'll experience, growth and nourishment and happiness and joy. And there's always going to be that back and forth, and we're always going to experience both sides of the coin, so to speak. But it's kind of saying like in the end, overall in life, things balance out, right? And so it's kind of recognizing that if you're in a space right now where you're not particularly happy, or you're feeling particularly challenged and things are not going your way, it's remembering that that won't stay the same forever, right? Like change is inevitable. Change is, an unavoidable part of life. And it's kind of having hope that will eventually balance out, right? So even the things that are outside of your control will balance out. And sometimes just acknowledging that we're meant to go through these cycles, and we're not always meant to, be moving at 110%, can help to adjust and find peace in situations where you may be feeling resistance because things aren't working out. And so, so it's basically like also trying to find the balance between taking time for yourself and nourishing your relationship to self and your emotional and spiritual world, in addition to, taking action and making moves in the external world. So it's like we have to strive for balance as well, and to recognize that it's up to us. What we do with our situation, what we do with what's given to us also has an impact on our future, right? And so it's kind of like, if we get caught up in a negative situation that's happening right now, and we feed into that and we focus on how negative it is, instead of just acknowledging like this is part of, the cycle of life and the ebb and flow, and to try to, do what we need to do to maintain hope and to stay focused on what we're hoping to bring in, then it's like we can kind of hijack ourselves almost by believing that our current situation is all that there will ever be, right? So it's kind of like recognizing your personal power in that sense. And then of course in relationships, it's really highlighting like being honest and open and truthful, speaking your truth, asking to be heard, but then also, recognizing and listening to and understanding other people. So whether it's a significant other or a friend and family member. So there may be the opportunity to connect with individuals this month in a way that allows for open communication. Maybe the air needs to be cleared. Maybe there are misunderstandings that need to come to light. This can also be, for every action, there is a reaction. So this can also be like I said, a card of karma. So maybe if there's something that you did that upset someone, or maybe there's some kind of conflict, it could be that is coming back up to be acknowledged and healed. So it may be time to address or apologize, or to kind of deal with the consequences of that, which is part of your personal growth. It could be the converse of that, where perhaps you've been slighted, or a situation has been, kind of unfair to you, and you're seeing that rectified. So this is very much a season of things balancing out. So you kind of recognizing balance in your life in the bigger picture and trusting that things are always going to continue moving. We're always going to be oscillating between like, positive and negative, if you want to judge it as such, like movement and action to rest and inaction. And that every single phase of life, every single experience serves a purpose, and to just kind of allow ourselves to drop the resistance and just flow with life a little bit better. And that gives us opportunities to be fair to ourselves and to others as well, right? Because sometimes when we get caught up in this idea that we should be doing and productive all the time, that can influence how we feel about ourselves and how we present ourselves to others. And it can also influence our expectations of them. And sometimes we treat other people unfairly because we've subscribed to a version of reality that is essentially unfair to us. And we don't see that it's unfair, the expectations that we put on ourselves, and we kind of project that onto other people. So this is really, really a good month to kind of get to the truth of the matter, to focus on what your truth is, what's most meaningful to you, what you want out of life, and to be open and honest in communicating that. Have equal and balanced exchanges, mutual respect. So for example, even if it's somebody that you have a history of conflict with and you really don't agree with, this doesn't necessarily have to be a person that you're going to be friends with for the rest of your life or even have a relationship with, but there might be the opportunity for a situation to be resolved, the air to be cleared, you to be fair and honest, say what you need to say, allow them to do the same, and then you decide how you're going to move forward. And it's like closure, leaving things in the past so that you can kind of move in a direction that's most beneficial to you. And so it's kind of like weighing the best, like your best interest with the best interest of another person. And recognizing that that is necessary for an equal exchange. And this also is basically saying that like any situation that you're in, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's related to career, anything that's been out of balance or maybe has been a bit of a struggle, it's saying that there is the opportunity for you to come to a fair and equal way forward, right? It may be a compromise. It may take some work and some doing, and it may not be a pleasant interaction or experience. It could be, but it doesn't have to be for you to get to that kind of end goal of, an equal and fair and respectable way forward that's going to take everybody's needs into mind. So nobody is going to come out, on the bottom, right? So it's like if there's compromise, then there's equal compromise and people are still kind of getting what they need. And it's not necessarily what they know they need, because we don't know what's best for us most times, but it's basically like it's not going to be actively hurting or taking advantage of somebody. So it's taking their highest good into account and knowing that in any given situation, there is always going to be a solution of the highest good, like for your highest good and the highest good of other people. And sometimes that might not be an easy place to get to. It could be a painful way to get there. Like, for example, if you're in a tumultuous relationship, perhaps the best thing to do is for you guys to have an open, honest conversation. You realize that you're not for each other and you go your separate ways. That might be what's in your highest good and in theirs, but it's not going to be a happy, pleasant situation. It can still be hurtful, right? So it's kind of recognizing that fairness and honesty is not always easy. It's not always happy. And those interactions are really important though, nonetheless, right? Okay, so we'll get your tarot cards. So your first card for this month is the World. No, I feel like on my screen here, it looks a little bit washed out. Hopefully you guys can see it. Okay, this is one of my favorite cards. Okay, let's get another card for you, Taurus. Oh, yeah, here we go. Your second card is Temperance, which is your second major arcana out of 2. So I might have been feeling that excitability for a reason. Like you guys might be working with some big energy and through some like really major kind of stuff. Right, your third card is the Ace of Swords. Right, and let's get you one more. Oh, I like that. 3 of Cups is your final card. And at the bottom of the deck is the 5 of Wands. Okay. So this is kind of painting a very interesting picture, because with the channeled messages I got, like, obviously, there might be a lot of socialization, connecting with other people, matters of the heart being brought to light or being emphasized and focused on, and the need to kind of graciously navigate certain social situations. And then with the to be fair coming up, yeah, there might be a lot of interpersonal stuff coming up for you that needs to be balanced out and rectified. A lot of conversations and connections that need to be focused on and perhaps repaired. Maybe things that are unexpected. And this can also be in terms of your relationship to yourself, your self-awareness, your emotions, the way that you view the world. And kind of balancing that out. And it is really kind of indicating to me, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this is primarily interpersonal, because we do have an indication that there's like other people and other energies here. But this can also be primarily internal. If you're not experiencing, or if you don't run into anything in terms of relationships and social settings, this can very much be your relationship to yourself. Kind of like, think of it like the angel and devil on your shoulder, if you will, and trying to find your personal truth, to find your path with those kind of impulses coming at you. That could be a way that this manifests for you as well. So I need to point out at the bottom of the deck, you've got the Five of Wands here, which is typically it can be a card of conflict. It can be, people kind of coming in and questioning you, poking you, testing you a little bit. It doesn't have to be people in specific. It can also be, feeling challenged and triggered by just general life experiences. But a lot of the times I do find that this comes in the form of like other people. So they could be questioning you, maybe trying to tear you down. There could be like there could be competition, a sense of like people drawing comparisons, making judgment, maybe trying to like, I'm going to be honest, like a lot of times when the Five of Wands comes up, I get like insecure people, like either it's like your insecurities and the way that it causes you to kind of like maybe lash out at other people, or vice versa, where you're surrounded by people that might be feeling a little bit insecure, and they kind of lash out, or they make little jabs at people to try and make themselves feel better, or to try and get people to participate in an exchange that it can be a little bit aggressive. So you might have those people in your existence. This can be fueled by like jealousy, insecurity, those like challenging emotions that cause you to and like this isn't necessarily like major conflict. It can just be like little things. Like, when people do those little passive aggressive things that you can tell they're trying to send a message or to get at you, but they're not fully owning it. Like, that is very much this energy for me. So it might be something that you've struggled with, perhaps an energy that you're trying to overcome and heal because of the situations and experiences that you've had in the past. Or it could be that you're surrounded by people that are doing this either in the past, or maybe this is a trigger, a trend for you dealing with these people, or it could be a combination of both. But I see that as being like, it might be that kind of stuff coming up that you're being kind of guided to rise above and to, approach it in a fair and honest way. To be true to yourself, to and your morals, to speak your truth, to be fair to the other people involved, and to try and see where they're coming from, and to acknowledge that you're not going to get along with everybody, but there's always going to be a path through any kind of conflict that's going to be in your highest good. So it's like handling things appropriately, graciously, if you will. So with your first card coming out as the World, I actually really love that for you. So you're being guided to come into this month kind of recognizing all of the work that you've done up until now. So this could be in terms of your personal development, emotional development, spiritual development, and awareness, however that applies to you. But this is kind of like you've been through, this is the last card in the major arcana, which signifies being at the end of the Fool's journey. So you started off on this journey to kind of learn and grow and discover, and you have this variety of experiences. You learn these lessons. And once you come to the world, it's like after all of these kinds of experiences, you've learned and you've been able to see, you can kind of take a look back on your journey, see what you experienced from a different perspective. You can see how it has grown you and benefited you. You can see how you've been changed. And this, a lot of times, will provide the opportunity for you to experience things that would have been difficult for you in the past or may have been triggering in the past. And it's not until those situations come up again and you feel different and you respond differently that you can say like, wow, I really have grown and changed. And it can also just be about coming to realizations over the course of your journey and the experiences that you've had, be they positive or negative, seemingly. And it's kind of like realizing that you have a different perspective on life now. It's kind of like the next level of enlightenment and awareness. Like you've leveled up from your experiences, you've learned, you've grown, you've gained wisdom, and now you're kind of ready to set out on a new journey to learn something new, to develop a new skill, right? And so I think it's really, really important for you to recognize the work that you've been doing, however that applies to you. So this could be like your physical health and fitness. It could be mental health, self-care, therapy, having like healing yourself, healing relationships. But this is basically saying like, you've been through a lot and you've overcome, and it's taking the time to recognize your strength and recognize all that you've learned and gained so that you can use that moving forward. And you can let those old cycles end. You don't have to carry that hurt with you. You don't have to carry trauma with you. You don't have to continue participating in situations that are not in your highest good. So it's really, really kind of like overcoming. And it's like looking back on everything and patting yourself on the back. You have to take time to celebrate yourself and to recognize what you've learned so that you can be empowered to take those lessons and move forward with them, right? So it's like you might regress at times, but it's like you don't want to go backwards. You don't want to commit to the old cycles that you've proven that you can break, right? And so it's like kind of fortifying yourself and recognizing like you deserve to be here, you deserve to benefit from it, you deserve to take those lessons forward, and it's only going to benefit you greatly. So if you are being tested, especially in ways that you feel like are particularly difficult or on topics that you've been trying to kind of master, I think it's like asking you to recognize all that you've done and to refuse to kind of go back to the place that you were in before, which may or may not have been healthy. You'll know what that is for you. And to know that you have the power to handle it in a fair and equitable way. You can stand up for yourself. You can advocate for yourself. You can advocate for others without putting other people down or damaging them, right? So it's like, there is like a fair way to resolve the situation, and you don't have to resort to this kind of energy. Your challenge this month is going to be balance, right? And so I think that's actually really interesting. So balance may very well be something that you've really, really been aware of, or you've really, really been struggling with, balancing your light and dark, your concepts of right and wrong. It could be balancing, your emotional and your mental energy with your physical energy, balancing action and doing to like rest and self-care. So it's funny that is highlighted as something that's really important. It's something that's really favorable for you to be able to kind of focus on and use and master, is balance and fairness in your exchanges. But it's also going to be a challenge for you. And I do get the sense that the reason, if you are experiencing things that are kind of triggering you, or that you feel like you're being tested, I would say that you likely are, but not because you're not doing enough. I think a lot of times when we experience struggle or challenge, we think that we've done something wrong or that we're being punished. In a lot of cases, that's not true. We are actually being given the opportunity to prove that we can level up. We can't develop new skills if we don't have the opportunity to practice them. And so if you've got something you're trying to heal and it's constantly being triggered, it's not because you're a horrible person and the universe hates you. It's because you're saying like, I want to heal this. I want to become better. Well, you can't become better if you don't have the chance to practice it, right? And it's not something that you can just do artificially for yourself. You have to kind of have those opportunities to experience and do things differently. So if you are having a struggle, if you are being tested, if this energy of balance seems particularly difficult, this is like very it's like opposing energy, right? So it's like even within what's highlighted for you as a major theme and strength, balance, it is also your biggest challenge. Balance, that in and of itself is balance, which is wild, right? So it's like balance, balance, balance. Holy crap, that's a major thing for you. So don't get down on yourself. Just keep in mind, everything's always in motion. Nothing lasts forever. Even if you catch yourself doing something that you're not totally proud of or falling into an old pattern, being able to bring that into your awareness and consciously make the decision to catch yourself and do something differently, that's what matters most. So it's also, you might have to be not only finding a way to graciously navigate situations with other people, which this supports, but also extending yourself a little bit more grace if you find that it's difficult or if you're still triggered. Don't judge yourself for being triggered. Acknowledge that you're being triggered for a reason, or you're struggling for a reason. It's connected to something that you're working on that's important to you, and just give yourself the ability to step out of that self-judgment and to kind of find your way through. And the way that you're being guided to do that, to kind of overcome the challenge that balance might pose, is to allow yourself to be open to new perspectives, new ways of seeing a situation, new beliefs, new ways of interpreting or perceiving the situation. So basically, it's like the mind is a very powerful thing. And what we focus on becomes our reality, right? Perception is reality. What we think and what we believe inevitably causes us to make decisions that will take those beliefs and allow them to impact our external environment. And eventually, with enough of those beliefs being acted upon, we impact our external environment to the point that whatever we're thinking about is just reflected back to us. So that goes in terms of the positive and the negative. And as you can see, there's this stairwell here with a light. This is like her mind, right? Her knowledge, her analysis, her wisdom, her awareness, her beliefs, the things that she's been taught, right? I just say she because it's a girl on the card, but gender's not important. And so it's recognizing that this can be a stairwell to ascension, to freedom, to a new kind of opportunity, to enlightenment, this light here, something new that's going to be helpful. But it can also be a stairwell that you can spiral down and descend. And it really depends on what you're focusing on. And so it's recognizing that having the awareness of just being able to observe your thoughts and your mind, and have the awareness to know, like, if you're connecting to and opening up to new information, to being educated, to connecting with new resources, new thoughts, things that might be more beneficial to you, more aligned, more representative of what is fair and honest for you, that's going to be in your best interest without, putting anyone else at a disadvantage, or if you're kind of spiraling downward into a place that's not necessarily going to be beneficial for you. So there is the opportunity for you to gain some new perspective, change your thoughts, change your beliefs, allow yourself to kind of let go of anything that might be holding you back. And so the thoughts and beliefs and the analysis and the overthinking that might tend to happen for you could be one that keeps you in a place of putting pressure on yourself, right? Being unfair to yourself. So since fairness and balance is a major focus for you this month, I would just be aware. It's like, are there any situations where you're being unfair to yourself, where you're expecting yourself to compromise your happiness or your health, whether you're expecting others to compromise their happiness or their health or what's important to them, and what thoughts and expectations that's attributed to. Right? And so it's kind of like being able to release yourself from limiting beliefs. And even if being fair and balanced is something that you do struggle with, right? And something that, has created conflict in your life in the past, it's recognizing that you don't have to be bound to that. And at any time you can change your mind, right? You don't have to subscribe to a static set of beliefs that is unchanging. It doesn't have to be white and black. You can be open to new information, new perceptions, new beliefs. You can change your mind at any time, and you can change your mind in a way that might not make sense to anyone else, but helps you to navigate your situation and to connect with your highest good, right? So be open to new opportunities, be open to kind of breaking away from those maybe more negative fear-based thoughts and beliefs, the ones that kind of drag you down and make you feel not so great, that is really going to help you find balance, because overthinking, overanalysis, and being kind of consumed by anxiety and fear might very well be something that has been interfering with your ability to find balance. It could just be like flawed perceptions or limiting beliefs and ideas about yourself and the world. So it's a good opportunity. And I love this because the highest possible outcome for this month, it's, celebration, it's joy, it's love, it is meaningful connections with other people. So the Three of Cups, it can be like a soul tribe kind of thing, like really wonderful, deep, meaningful connections. It also is a card of, family, celebrations, like community, connecting with your community, and not just connecting with and acknowledging your community, but allowing yourself to have deeper interactions with the people around you. So sharing love, sharing awareness, and mutual respect, right? So it's like, this is kind of like the types of relationships and interactions that you can foster and enjoy when you are true to yourself and when you approach things from a fair and respectful place, right? When you acknowledge that all the things that you experience in life serve a purpose, the people that you meet serve a purpose, and the best thing that you can do is honor yourself and honor that other person, even if it means that, there might be a little bit of a hurtful experience, and you go your separate ways, or it might be a deepening of your connection to other people. But this definitely speaks to those social situations, and it's like not only in enjoying yourself on like a superficial level, which can be the easy way to go about things, but it's kind of like allowing yourself to connect to people that you have more in common with, right? And sometimes you don't realize how closely connected you can be to somebody, or how similar you are, when you don't let them in, if you don't have those deeper conversations. So it's really lovely energy. It's kind of like being able to enjoy interactions and celebrations that are guided by love. So for your affirmations, you have, I can find peace in every breath. So yeah, connecting with yourself, breathwork, meditation might be something that's helpful to you, especially if you're feeling triggered, especially if you've got conflict around you, if there's discomfort, if you're feeling difficult, finding it difficult to keep things in balance, returning to your breath, centering yourself, bringing your awareness to your thoughts. This can be a really helpful way to do it. And then when I respect my money respects me. So this is interesting because we don't have a lot of cards here talking about money, right? Temperance can be, because it's kind of like balancing the ethereal with the material. So money might be something that's on your mind in particular, your savings, your career, what you're getting paid. And so I think, being aware of what you have, the abundance in your life, especially in terms of material goods and money, having respect for it, the work that you've done to get there, being conscious about what you spend your money on, how you value it, and instead of allowing fear to dictate your relationship to money, it's allowing gratitude to influence that, and trusting that your money is working for you and that you have the ability to make your money work for you. It doesn't have to be something that looms over your head and controls you. Okay, so this reading is already quite long. I just got a whole bunch of cards. We're going to get you one final oracle card. This is from the Crystal Spirits Oracle. So let's see. I find these ones always take a while to come out, but oh my gosh. Okay. So a bunch came out, but there was one in particular that separated itself. So we'll take her. Okay, so you've got Aqua Aura Quartz. That's really cool. Okay, so let me find my guidebook here. So I'll read this directly from the guidebook and we'll see what she has to say. Okay, so the essential meanings for Aqua Aura Quartz are connecting to infinite potential, a renewed sense of purpose, wonder, and awe. I think that's a really lovely thing to kind of like tie all this energy together. So The Earth is only one planet within a solar system, within a massive galaxy that itself is a mere speck within a vast universe. How awesome it is to recognize the power we all have when we choose to see ourselves as part of this incredible creation, and when we tap into the universal consciousness that continually generates love and guides us with wisdom of the ages. The appearance of this crystal is a message to you to cease your cynicism and worry and open your heart to the wonder that is your life. How unlikely we all are, and yet we are here. Drink in the magic of life and your body on this planet. Drink in the magic of life in your body on this planet and let yourself be filled with wonderment. Open yourself to healing in its many forms as the universal consciousness eternally creates new beginnings and generates abundance. Today is a day to appreciate the magic that is everywhere. So yeah, that's kind of like nothing is static. The cycles are always kind of flowing for us, right? The relationship message says there are 8 billion people on this planet, yet soulmates somehow find each other. Friends and lovers show up in the most unexpected places, and love makes itself known just as you are beginning to doubt that it is out there for you. Aqua Aura Quartz Spirit's message to you today is to become childlike with wonder. Believe in magic, believe in the power of love to find its way to you no matter how dark the hour, for love is everywhere and you have not been forgotten. Open to the love that the universal consciousness wants you to feel in every cell of your body and every particle of your being, for you are the stuff of stars. And there's a prosperity message. As long as you are on this earth and in this body, you will always need to pay your bills and fill your belly. But Aqua Aura Quartz Spirit is here to remind you of the magic that happens when you align with the flow of abundance. You realize you really do have what you need. Resources multiply when you start to feel like Jimmy Stewart. And it's a wonderful life, with a basket overflowing with gifts from those who remember what you did and who you are, who want you to know that the money and support show up when you let go of your fear that you aren't enough. You are enough and more. Open yourself to the abundant gifts from the conscious universe today and be in awe of the signs that say, yes, I am listening and I love you, to there and back. And then there's a meditation. Aqua Aura Quartz is a clear quartz that has been treated with a specialized process, bonding finely powdered gold to its surface. The addition of gold changes the energy of the quartz into something more and very different from the original crystal. Meditation with Aqua Aura Quartz soothes the emotions and seems to, on some level, feel sacred, bringing in a feeling of attunement to the upper realms. Interesting. So I really love that for you guys. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the whole, social interaction being highlighted, and the sense that there is some healing that you've been working on, to be kind of ground down for you to finally close out some major cycles. So yeah, so balance is likely going to be something that is difficult for you, but keep in mind, even if you're struggling, it is very much highlighted, and trust that you can find your way through. And kind of allow yourself to recognize all the work that you've done, all the abundance that you have, all that you've been able to create, especially if you're starting to get down on yourself. Let go of that kind of guilt and cynicism and allow yourself to open up, because there's a huge amount of potential. And I think that finding this fair way through, speaking fairly openly and honestly, and allowing that balance to be recognized and highlighted in your life is going to be a really, really helpful way for you to kind of connect with more of your potential. So Taurus, I love that reading for you. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you did enjoy this reading, the best way to support me is to like this video, leave me a comment. You can share if there's anyone that you can think of that might be interested in these types of readings. Also head over to my channel at Bright Soul Collective Tarot, subscribe, and also subscribe to notifications, and you can stay up to date on new videos as they're posted. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure reading for you. I hope this month brings you everything that your heart desires and more. And I very much look forward to reading for you again next month. And in the meantime, I'm wishing you all the very best.